Dov Zakheim is a former Undersecretary of Defense in George W. Bush administration and currently senior advisor at Center for Strategic and International Studies. Is now joining us live from Washington, D.C. Mr. Zakheim, thank you very much for joining us and making time for us. Welcome to the show. How dangerous are these missile games, and what message is Putin trying to send with the deployment of Oreshnik?
Well, obviously, any missile that has the power of what Putin just launched is quite dangerous, as are the ATACMS and Storm Shadows. The ATACMS, of course, is the American system. Storm Shadow is the British system, which have a quite long range and can hit inside Russia. I mean, both of them are very, very dangerous by definition. I think that what one has to consider, first of all, as I believe your Angela Stent, your previous speaker, said, it is critical that Ukraine and the West that's backing Ukraine do not back down. The use of this medium-range ballistic missile, frankly, was there to intimidate Ukraine and, even more importantly, to intimidate the West. After all said and done, Putin, at roughly the same time that the Ukrainians were firing ATACMS for the first time, had signed off on a new nuclear doctrine that essentially said that any kind of serious attack against Russia could prompt a nuclear response. And that, of course, was geared again toward essentially scaring the West away from helping the Ukrainians. But at the end of the day, each time that the United States or its European allies have provided a new capability to Ukraine, the Russians have threatened nuclear response, and it has not happened. And I think Putin fully understands that should he launch any kind of nuclear response, he doesn't know where that might end. Still, it's terribly dangerous, no question about it. But I think both sides are sort of gaming how Mr. Trump might respond. And I'll give you one possibility. Mr. Trump clearly wants to settle this, and I don't doubt that he wants a Nobel Peace Prize for doing it. He could turn around to the Ukrainians and say, if you don't come to the negotiating table, I will not supply you. But at the same time, he could go to Putin and say, if you don't come to the negotiating table, I will supply the Ukrainians with every single thing they want. That might bring them together. So that's one scenario that I think one has to consider. It's not merely that Trump might walk away from Ukraine. And that's terribly important, particularly in the context we're now in, where there's a completely new level of missile exchanges that wasn't there before November.
All right, Mr. Zakheim, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much for your time. Dov Zakheim is a former Undersecretary of Defense in George W. Bush administration and currently senior advisor at Center for Strategic and International Studies. Mr. Zakheim, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.